feel like that's annoyed you.
No, I'm...
Welcome to another week of Underage Grandparents, where we discuss our family, our marriage, and yes, our granddaughter. I'm Matty Acton. This is Esther Acton, my gorgeous wife. Our life is crazy, and hopefully this podcast makes you feel normal. Something that is definitely not normal this week, Jeff Bezos' wedding.
Yes.
That bloke is so damn rich.
Do you know what's... I think... You know how the world used to be obsessed with like supermodels and like famous people? We're obsessed with billionaires now.
Well, billionaires are the famous people these days.
Yeah, but I struggle to understand it. Like, obviously they're very successful business people, but they're not interesting. That doesn't make them super interesting. It's not like they're good looking or... Well, that's a terrible thing to say. But
no, I know what you're saying.
But yeah, it's not like they're talented actors or actresses or, you know.
I think what his wedding, he's 61 and he married Lauren Sanchez is her name, 55. He's worth $237 billion.
Yeah, it's a lot of I can't even compute that amount of money.
So what we've actually learned is that he may not be famous, but he can buy famous friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Like everyone at his wedding was more interesting than the bride and groom.
Bill Gates was there, another billionaire.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was there.
Yeah.
The NFL player. Oprah Winfrey was at his wedding.
I know.
Now, do you think they are legitimately friends, or do you think he's just managed to get her to come along?
I don't know. I think if you get an invitation to something like that, you go because you're curious to see what it is. It's the whole reason why we're being punished with all the information about it constantly is because you see it pop up on your phone. And I always go immediately to the comments section, and the whole comment section is full of, we don't care, stop putting billionaires, up. But then that's actually creating the algorithm to make the news sites put more up about him.
I have been hate clicking on it all week long. They're looking at it going...
You're part of the problem.
I am. I'm massively part of the problem. I'm just Googling Oprah and Jeff Bezos right now.
I had no idea that he was engaged. I didn't know anything about his fiance, but now I do. I have all this useless information in my head that I don't want.
Was it truly like Amazon? Did they get engaged one day and then do a one-day delivery and they had the wedding turned around? I don't think that they're really friends. I've Googled Oprah and Jeff Bezos before.
They may have never met, doll.
Surely when you have, let's say, civilian weddings, which is what we had, normal people weddings, you do meet some people at your reception, not many. It might be like a new partner of someone.
Okay, I see where you're going. Yeah.
Or it might be like a cousin's boyfriend who maybe the cousin lives interstate and you don't see them a lot. And you know about the partner, but you are just meeting them officially there. And that is weird, right?
Yeah.
But imagine going up and being like, hey, Oprah, welcome to my wedding.
Hang on. How many of your groomsmen are still with the people they were with?
None of them.
No, one. I think only one.
Oh, no, Bretto is, yeah. Bretto. Well, they were married. They got married before.
I think they did get married before us, yeah.
But yeah, my other groomsmen, no, they're not with any of their partners now.
No.
That's the funny thing about weddings, right? Is if we did our wedding again, what would you change about our wedding?
Everything.
Even the groom?
Not the groom, obviously. Yeah, I'd change so much, but I think that's normal. I don't think anyone, like, I still had the best day ever. It was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it, you say, but like, I don't know. When you look back, you always think you would do things differently.
See, I wouldn't do a wedding. Sorry, the dog's in here, as always. I wouldn't have a wedding. I would elope.
Would
if
you?
we were to do it again, yeah. Oh. I mean, I had a great day as well, and it was nice. I think weddings are a great day for all the people to get to come and get drunk and eat for free.
It's like a party for everybody.
But I don't think having that big lavish wedding would have changed it changes the outcome of your marriage.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
And if you took the money, I would have rather now, in hindsight, taken the money and used it to buy a house.
Yeah.
Which is easy
go
to
on
say.
A trip or something.
Yeah, once you've had the big old wedding, it's easy to say that.
Yeah, I agree. I just think weddings have gotten so elaborate and ridiculous and expensive that, like, if we were even thinking about it today, we probably would just save the money.
Well, now we can actually afford a wedding. Back then we had to scrape money together, and your dad was also very generous and gave us some money as well. But he did say to her, I don't know if he said it to you, but he said to me, if you want to cheap out on the wedding, the money that I'm gifting you, you can use to do whatever you want. Dog, if you
the time,
do not pee in this studio. We've got a 7, 8 month old. No, it is a bandit. We've got a rug in here and it loves to pee on these rugs because I've got one upstairs in the spare room and it thinks it's a toilet. She's happy.
She's just happy to be
she's happy.
Involved.
Let's just let her pee.
She's not usually allowed in here, so she's just...
Yeah, I don't reckon I'd do the big old lavish wedding. I even got frustrated when we were picking stuff for our wedding. Have I told you my trick that I used on you?
I think you have once before.
So when you would like show me a big thing for flowers, right? They give the big choices, the big magazine, and you'd be like, "What do you think?" And you'd show me the one that you had it open on, and I'd be like, "No," and then I'd scroll through a few, flip through. It was a book. And I go, what do you think of these? You go, oh, I'm not sure. I go, well, I really like them, but to be fair, what you've picked is probably my preference. Bang, problem solved. If I tried to get too involved.
That's not a problem though. You do understand that that's like not a problem when I'm asking you for your opinion.
No, well, see, the thing is...
the same as like dinner or like anything, any decisions. It's not a problem for me that you need to solve, me asking you your opinion.
No, I know, but if it doesn't bother me, I'm not allowed to say to you, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. You want me to have some input.
Yeah.
But if we truly don't care of the outcome of something,
you just want us to pick.
Yes. Okay. Yes. We truly don't mind.
Fair enough.
I feel like that's annoyed you.
No. I'm...
That is so annoyed you.
No, it hasn't. I'm fine.
Because I know when you've already made a suggestion that that's what you really want. And I want you to have what you want.
Okay.
If I really have an opinion on it and it's going to affect me, I will
Pick the cheapest one.
I will give it a go and I will say, hey, here's my suggestion. But if I don't care...
Yeah.
But if men just go, whatever you want, babe, then we get, oh, you don't care enough.
Exactly. Because we want you involved in the process. Because otherwise then at the end you rock up on the day and you're like, oh, I didn't know about this or I didn't know about this. And everyone's like, oh, she's a bridezilla.
No one said that about you. I knew about everything.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, it's just what women have to cop is that we want to be planned. But Bezos's wife, she picked a dress that apparently was a copy of a dress that Sophia Loren wore, and people are absolutely destroying her over that for even making that like nod to someone. They're like, you are nothing like her. You know, they're being quite mean on the internet about every aspect of the wedding really. But it's not fun having to like go through all of that. I found our wedding probably one of the most stressful things we went through as a couple. Really? We've been through, we've moved interstate like 4 or 5 times, but our wedding was super stressful because we got close families and there was just a lot of politics. And then our cat broke its leg the month before and cost us $5,000 on a surgery.
Correct.
And it was just, the whole thing was like so stressful that even though I loved it, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I probably still would do it differently.
Did we have 14 bridesmaids and groomsmen?
I had 7 bridesmaids.
You had 7, but I only had 5 groomsmen, didn't
correct.
I?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that number just kept on climbing.
Well, I had 5 bridesmaids and 2 junior bridesmaids and then 2 flower girls. So,
yeah. And I just didn't have enough friends to match them all up. So I was like, I'm sorry. Not enough people like me. So you're going to have to walk yourself down the aisle. Anyway, weddings, they bring up the best in everyone, don't they?
I know. So fun. Glad we had this chat.
Yeah. No, I did care about the flowers though, babe. I did.
What color were they?
White and yellow. Nah, joking. Purple.
Pink.
Yeah, that's what I said. Purple and yellow makes pink.
So we got a message from our Facebook group this week, and I saw it, and it's something that we've talked about before because it's not really my area of expertise. So I thought I'd read it to you and let you.
I have an area of expertise. We're all
do.
learning something
You
today.
actually do. So I don't know who this is from actually because I just took a screenshot. Sorry, but it says just wanted to say I love the potty. I'll skip that whole first bit because they're just glazing us.
Come on, be a man. Take the compliment. That's such a woman thing.
She just says that listening to us is exactly how they are with each other, which is lovely.
Okay, nice. Her and her partner. That's such a woman thing to do, isn't it? Skip over the compliment.
Well,
I would have read that out, probably spent 15 minutes on that before I got to the actual question.
Okay. We're raising a teenage boy, 14, and would love to hear your experience about when it came to the birds and the bees time of teenage years. My hubby is hesitant and I feel like it needs to happen soon, and I believe it will be left up to me to do it.
Ooh, how old's this kid?
14.
I hate to break it to you. He probably already knows.
Oh, he knows about it. He probably knows some of it, but you know how old was Ethan actually? He was year 9 or something when we talked to him, not about about sex itself, because I'm pretty sure they cover that in school, but just like the
nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty. So like I remember Ethan coming to me and asking me some questions once, and I feel like he was in like year 9, I'm going to say, because we're living in Melbourne, I think. And I said, I'm not sure. I think you should probably ask Dad.
I do remember that, yes. I do remember. But he didn't actually come and ask me. You told me about the conversation and that you told him to come and ask me. So then I had to go and front it with him.
Yeah.
So we did have the conversation. Kids know a lot about it, right? So our eldest son is 23 now and has a baby.
Yeah.
So
we're pretty sure he knows now.
He knows, he's worked out exactly how it works. But you find that they already know quite a lot. Your job is not to explain things to them, it's to fill in the gaps for them. Yeah,
because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I'm pretty sure that's what he was dealing with at that time.
Yeah.
Was a bit of misinformation from friends and that was kind of, I mean, these two things kind of tie in together, but the internet was becoming a bit of a problem back then.
Yeah.
So for us with him, he had a phone and he had to catch the tram to school at the time. So it was necessary for him to have a phone. And I think he had Facebook and maybe Instagram.
Yeah, I think Instagram was just becoming a thing.
Yeah, so maybe Facebook. And you would check it, regularly just to see what was going on. And there was a few incidents that had come up from that where there'd been pictures shared.
Yeah.
And I think we realised, okay,
teenagers get onto this stuff a lot quicker than we realise.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest learning from already having a grown up child now is to be honest about it and to have the conversation. If you think it's time to have the conversation, have the conversation. We didn't really have this problem, but it was always something I was really concerned about with young boys, and I always am, is their easy access to pornography. I remember growing up, the only porn really was sneaking into the back of a news agency when your mum was putting on her lotto and you pretend you were looking at the motorbike magazines, but you were copping a quick glance at the Playboys, like hoping to God that they were on at the front of the pile, right?
Yeah.
But all you would see is boobs.
Like, yeah.
That would be.
You would know better than me. I wasn't leafing through
you weren't.
usually.
And then maybe occasionally you would have a friend whose dad who had a VHS tape hidden in the top of a cupboard somewhere, and you would, when the parents would be out, you'd put it on, and you'd be like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
But now, at the click of their fingers, it's right there.
Yeah, that's scary, isn't it?
And it's also the stuff they can find. the thing is it's not sex what they're watching. And that's my biggest fear. And that's why I was always really open about
Proactive about talking with Ethan about it too.
Yeah, for the safety of the boys and for the safety of our girls, because they need to know what they see is not what actual sexual relationships are. And they're, I guess, professionals and they're acting. And so the stuff that they do, you can't just leap straight into.
Yeah. But also it's not good for your brain to it's like so many other things, that we're told that can be harmful to you over time.
Yeah.
I think it's a conversation that has to be had, especially I think girls too, but mainly with boys. Girls need to understand it and understand how out there it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff I even get advertised on Instagram, like half of it I'm like, oh my goodness. Like,
why? What are you getting advertised?
No, just, like the stuff that pops up, and it's women and men in my algorithm. So it's not just, super targeted like that. But
no, and I think, and look, porn's not just boys watching it, girls watch it too. And I guess, teenagers, they're trying to figure out what it is as well. But, like consent's a huge thing as well.
Massive, yeah.
Now it's not just about teaching our teens about what sex is. It's about what everyone's comfortable with. Was another big thing that we spoke to Ethan about, and we'll talk to our other kids about. But I do remember when he was getting older, and it's one thing I was never taught or talked to. My parents didn't talk to me about sex. Did yours talk to you ever?
Not really. No, I don't remember it ever being. I think maybe the conversation was had with my sister and I was like listening, but I don't remember it ever being something that we certainly didn't openly talk about.
No, because I have very low shame. Would you say?
100%. You don't have an embarrassment level at all. You can pretty much jump straight into any sort of uncomfortable conversational situation without ever being like, that's embarrassing.
Because for me, I treat it like a Band-Aid. I would rather just
rip it off.
Let's attack this and get it done.
I don't know. I think Ethan would have taken any conversation from me just as easily because we were very close, and he always was super open and told me everything, and he's not a boundary person like that. Like he was always a really good communicator if we asked him for things. And that's how when we knew when something wasn't right, because he would shut us off a little bit. So there was that sign, and I think you do have to look for that with your kids too. Yeah. If there's something, if you can sense there's something not right in the relationship between you and them, you're probably right, and it's probably in their phone, and you're probably going to find it that way, or you're going to need to really open up the conversation with them and get it out of them, because teenagers are just sneaky. They're just they're sneakier than us, and you can't guess what it is that's going on. It could just be a fight with a friend, or it could be, them talking to someone on the internet, or it could be, I don't know.
I remember this night distinctly, and I think it's burnt into his poor brain too. It was the night that I showed him how condoms work. Mm-hmm. And I remember that, he'd sort of been talking to this girl, and it was a bit more mature than we would have liked. And I was like, well, it's time to have this conversation. So I got a condom out of our bathroom and I stormed down
Well, that's terrifying in itself.
Down the hallway, and he's in his bedroom. He had his headset on. He was on his PlayStation. He was talking to his mates, and they're playing Call of Duty or something. And I was like, right, turn it off. I was like, what? I was like, turn it off. We need to talk. And he's like, all right, boys, I'll be back on soon. My dad wants to talk to me about something.
And you say, I do good impersonations.
He shuts it down, and I was like, we're going to learn how to put on a condom. He goes, no, get out, stop it, get out, get out, get out. I got the PlayStation remote, and you know how the PlayStation remote's got two handles, long handles.
Two tiny little knobs.
Excuse me, they're very big. Very big, those handles. and I turned it upside down and I showed him how to put it on there. And I was like, obviously, this is, a little shorter than usual, but that's your general thing.
Do we not have any bananas still?
No, I don't think we had any bananas. And then that was that. I was like, we good? He was like, we're good.
Oh my goodness. This reminds me of something so funny I saw on the internet this week. Just when you started talking about that. There was a mum on the internet talking about how her 15-year-old daughters found a packet of condoms in their house.
Yeah.
And so asked them about it. It was 15 and 14-year-old. She's like, I'm going to have to talk to them about what it actually is. So she got the banana. She put that on. She's like, the whole conversation was scarring. But then the 15-year-old pipes up and goes, why are they chocolate flavored? And she was just like,
See, but that's, what
the whole conversation is just
you've got to answer that question.
terrifying.
You've
I
got
know,
to
and she did answer it. But yeah.
So anyway, to the person who sent that question in, thank you so much. You can ask us any question on our Facebook, by the way. We'll obviously give you about 58 answers like we did just then. But in short, attack it head on and just go for it. All right, we're going to wrap today's show with a Am I Overreacting? Now, I brought this one. I found this one on Reddit, and I think it's actually been around for a couple of years. So I don't know how true it is, but I thought it's a great one to bring up because it can be a bone of contention in a lot of workplaces, and you are a manager at your workplace. So I wondered if this would be something that you would consider. They've written here on Reddit, this week, a sign was put up in the bathroom at my workplace and it says no phones in the bathroom. Now, at first, I thought it was due to some sort of HR issue with cameras on phones. And I thought that actually makes sense.
It does, and it's cleanliness.
Of course. Then it continues on to say, if you're in the bathroom for more than 10 minutes, a manager will conduct a smell test.
What?
If they do not smell the activity of a number 2, then you'll be given a written warning. I personally think this is out of line.
Oh my.
But do you think it's okay considering that, yes, we are on the clock when we are in the bathroom? So are they overreacting?
Yes. That is disgusting. You can't do that. Number one,
has no
number
smell.
2's. If you want to hang out in the toilet for longer than 10 minutes, go for it. Like, obviously, you're having a moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one chooses to sit in a toilet. Well, okay, men do. But not a public toilet. The one at their house, their throne, sure, they'll spend half the day in there if they could have the chance. But not a public toilet. No one's like in there just having the time of their lives.
If you're there on there scrolling TikTok, but if you do have an employee though that goes to the toilet, spends 20 minutes in the toilet,
I do not care.
You're not going to okay. What if they do it 3 times a day? On average, you would go to the toilet 3 times a day in an 8-hour work day. That's 60 minutes that they spend not doing any work.
They could be sitting at their desk scrolling TikTok for the rest of the 8 hours. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you have a working environment where you have to be so onto this sort of thing, then it's not a good place to work. And you obviously don't have the right, structures around workplace and culture and all that. Like, it's no. Honestly, I would have walked into bathrooms when I was working in offices and wanted to just be away from people for a period in time. And I think that's okay. Don't you? I remember going to sit in the stairwell of the shopping centre and just sitting there in the stairwell.
So you said you were going to the toilet, but you just sat in the stairwell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just because, like, sometimes you just need that. And I don't begrudge people that 10 minutes here and there. Smell test, I'm never, you know how I feel about smell. Oh my God. That would be punishing me.
Imagine that. All right, I'm gonna need to see your toilet paper to see what happened there.
No, that can't. No, that's that.
I don't know whether it's real or not. Like I said, I reckon there would be some workplaces who would time toilet breaks, or they maybe not time them, but they would be keeping an eye on it. They wouldn't come in and check the toilet, and they'd be like, "Why are you going to the toilet so much?"
I have heard of this actually. Someone was telling me recently, it might have been my friend, who said that on her level, you have to use your pass key to get out to the toilets. So if you're outside of the actual office area,
It's got a log of it.
for too long, it does actually like notify somebody that you've been gone for extra time. Because I guess it's probably the same for smoke breaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess people do it, and there may be, I don't have time to be checking that.
No, but
What management has time to be checking that?
there are some managers,
Workplaces.
but those managers, they get off on that.
I know.
It's like they're like the cop of the workplace, and they're like, it's all about making it fair for everyone, but they get off on getting up you and trying to swing their power around.
Yeah. I've worked for managers like that before. Thankfully not where I am now. But
No.
yes, it's horrible.
So you say the workplace is overreacting?
Yes.
And poop it up as long as you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
As long as you get your work done.
Yeah. You could take your laptop in there for all I care.
Hey, that is another episode, guys. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, follow everything on our socials. Underage Grandparents Podcast is how you can search us up. And we'll see you next week for another ep.